Let us say the next question. Prepare Nostro account and exchange position with the following information. State Bank of India has opening credit balance of $1 lakh with Bank of America and overbought position of $1 lakh. First, A Limited has imported goods from United States, that is from a US company. It is required to pay $25,000 spot to its supplier. A Limited wants to remit $25,000 to its supplier through Telegraphic Transfer. And so on information is provided to us. And the question says that you are required to prepare Nostro account and you are required to prepare the exchange position with this information. So let us have understanding of this new concept that we are going to study. So write on heading Nostro account and exchange position. Friends, over here we are preparing a small table in which I'll explain you that say what transaction has taken place, and with that say we are going to prepare a new thing, that is Nostro account and exchange position. So a small table will be like this: serial number, that is column number 1, then transaction from customer point of view, then transaction from bank point of view, next impact on Nostro account, question mark. That is the way we'll have say a small table. This is only for the for the purpose of understanding the impact of individual transaction, understanding the transaction from customer point of view, from bank point of view, and whether it will have an impact in the Nostro account or not. So we'll give the reference as say the 1 to 10. So the serial number 1 is the transaction number 1 and so on. After that we'll prepare the Nostro account. In that particulars, debit, credit, exchange position, particulars, buy, sale. That is why we will have say these three things. So let us have understanding of the concept. I am reading the first like the transaction, and with that I am giving explanation to you. The question is providing that say that A Limited has imported goods from a US company. So there is a company called A Limited which is there in India, which has imported goods. And for that, of course, it is required to do the transaction for sell of rupees and purchase of dollar for the purpose of making payment to the supplier. it is required to pay $25,000 spot to the supplier. A Limited wants to remit $25,000 to its supplier through telegraphic transfer. So now friends, what will happen? As far as the A Limited is concerned, A Limited will approach to State Bank of India, asking State Bank of India that say, I want to enter into this transaction with you. I want to purchase dollar from you and I want to remit that dollar say to my supplier. So State Bank of India say will have a kind of conversation like this with A Limited, that let us say 25,000 into 70. This is the amount which is required to be paid by A Limited. That comes to an amount of rupees 17,50,000. Then State Bank of India will ask for the details about the bank account of the supplier of A Limited. Whatever the bank details that the A Limited will provide to State Bank of India will be of course of the United States, that is the dollar currency. What will happen? Listen carefully. State Bank of India will have say its own account in United States. That is as per the information given, it is the Bank of America. In that say it is having the account, and this account is given a name as the Nostro account. So from that account, say this $25,000 say will be transferred from Bank of America to the supplier's bank account. Let us say that the supplier is having say the bank account in the State Bank of New Jersey. Then say from Bank of America, so the funds will be transferred to the Bank of New Jersey. How much? $25,000. Whatever the rate at which so the payment is supposed to be collected from A Limited, so that amount will be collected by State Bank of India from A Limited right now. This is the way the transaction is going to take place, and whatever the foreign currency account with that is say in which the account is maintained, and the bank account that the State Bank of India is having, say Bank of America, is given a name as the Nostro account. Over here the information is provided to us like this, that in the Nostro account there is an opening balance of an amount of 1 lakh US dollar. Information is provided that say there is opening balance of the overbought position of $1 lakh once again, as far as the exchange position is concerned. What is exchange position? I just come to that point, say after doing one or two transaction, with that say you will have more clarity. We understand that say as far as the first like the transaction is concerned, the transaction from the customer point of view is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar for the purpose of making remittance. From the bank point of view, it is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. Whether it will have an impact in Nostro account? Yes, it will have an impact in the Nostro account because the transaction is taking place right now only. So here, payment for import, in bracket I am writing A Limited, an amount of 25,000 US dollar. Again over here, payment for import, in bracket I am writing say A Limited, that is an amount of $25,000. This is the way so the transaction will be entered upon say by bank, and the transaction is actually executed, because we understand that say so far whatever the transactions that we have understood, in that say we have not entered into the the understanding that say how it is executed. In this question we are going to understand say how the transaction is executed say through the different bank accounts, and this is given a name as the Nostro account. Let me explain you, do not write anything. Second is same, B Limited has imported goods from a US company. It is required to pay $7,000 highlight the portion after 3 months. It is entering into a forward contract to hedge its foreign exchange risk. B Limited, instead of A make it B Limited wants to remit $7,000 to its supplier in forward contract through telegraphic transfer. Okay. Now, in the second question, we understand that so the transaction from the customer point of view is going to remain same. Sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. Transaction from bank point of view is also going to remain same. Sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. How much amount of the dollar? 7,000. Is it required to be paid right now? No, it is required to be paid in forward transaction. So whether it will have an impact in the Nostro account? No. Nostro account is a simple, so the bank account of the State Bank of India with Bank of America. So if at all only a forward contract is entered upon, then in that case it will not have impact in the Nostro account. It will have impact only in the exchange position, with which the bank can come to know that what kind of overbought position or what kind of oversale position that it is having. So the payment for import in F transaction, that is forward transaction, with B Limited an amount of 7,000. This is what we understand. C Limited has exported goods to a United States company. It is going to receive $5,000 spot from its customer. So now what will happen? C Limited will approach to State Bank of India, asking State Bank of India that say I am interested in the spot transaction for sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. How much amount of the dollar? 5,000. Let us assume that the exchange rate is 68 rupees per dollar. So 5,000 into 68, an amount of 3,40,000 rupees is supposed to be paid to State Bank of India. Say is required to be paid to C Limited. State Bank of India will tell to C customer that say tell to your customer that say this is my bank account in Bank of America. In Bank of America, this account number, in that transfer 5,000 US dollar. Once we will receive the credit of 5,000 US dollar over there, we will pay an amount of 3,40,000 rupees to you over here. This is the way the Nostro account will work. It is a kind of bank account which the State Bank of India is having in Bank of America. So over here, in the third question, the transaction from the customer point of view is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. From bank point of view, the transaction is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. Will it have an impact in the Nostro account? Yes. So we understand that's the receipt for import. So whatever the amount which is credited by the customer of the C Limited, with that so the Nostro account will increase by an amount of $5,000. And over here, receipt for export in that C Limited, in that $5,000. This is the way we are required to consider the transaction. Sorry friends, there is a mistake on my end. Receipt for export for C Limited. Sorry. Friends, I am repeating these transactions which we have done so far. The first is that looking to the transaction looking to the information given, first of all we are required to understand that in which transaction the customer will enter upon, in which transaction the bank will enter upon. That is what we have to understand. That is the first thing. Second thing is that say as far as the Nostro account is concerned, simply the Nostro account is an account which is maintained in which a kind of simple bank account, simple passbook, that is what you can understand. We have to judge that, we have to make an understanding that whether this transaction will enter upon say in the Nostro account or not. We understand that say if at all the transaction is entered upon in spot, it will have an impact say in the Nostro account, not otherwise. That is the way we are required to have an understanding that say whether it will have an impact in the Nostro account or not. Afterwards it's very simple. We understand that say if at all we are going to have the receipt, then in that case it will increase our credit balance. If at all we are going to make payment, then in that case it is going to reduce our credit balance. Exchange position is indicating that say what kind of transaction in which you have entered upon for purchase sale of foreign currency. As a bank I would like to know that say whether I will be having say the overbought position or oversold position at the end of the period. So we are having say the exchange position. Next, fourth, D Limited has exported goods to a US company. It is going to receive 10,000 US dollar after 3 months. It is entering into the forward contract to hedge foreign exchange risk. That is what the transaction is. Try to incorporate the fourth transaction in the answer. So first of all let us understand and say how it will have the impact in terms of the transaction. So for the fourth information, the transaction from the customer point of view is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. Transaction from the bank point of view, it is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. Will it have an impact in the Nostro account? Answer is no. Why no? Because we understand that so the forward contract is required to be entered upon. So next is the receipt for export, an amount of 10,000. Next, a student from India wants to go to study United States of America. US college is accepting the payment in dollar currency via demand draft. The student requests for the demand draft of $2,000. DD of $2,000 is issued by the bank. That is the question. So we understand that the transaction from customer point of view is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. Transaction from bank point of view, it is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. So in the exchange position, we will have the DD issued. In that, an amount of $2,000. That is an amount of 2,000. This is the way it will have the effect in the exchange position. Will it have the effect in the Nostro account? The answer is no. Why? Let us understand. We understand that say, as far as the student is concerned, the student has entered into the transaction for sell rupees and purchase dollar. Let us assume that the exchange rate is 70. So 2,000 into 70, this is an amount of the rupees that student is giving to the bank. And bank is issuing say the demand draft of $2,000 say to the student. What will happen, friends? The student will make payment of the fees, say to its college or to its university. Once it is making payment to the university, then the university may be having, let us say, the bank account in State Bank of New York. So that DD will be deposited, say, in State Bank of the New York. Then from State Bank of the New York, it will go into the clearing system. And when it is presented to the Bank of America, at that point of time, the Nostro account of the State Bank of India, say, will have effect. Right now, it will not have effect. So when the DD is issued, when the DD is presented, at that point of time, it will have an impact in the Nostro account. So it will not have the impact in the Nostro account right now. It will have the effect only in the exchange position. Let us note for this. Note for point number 5. In that, write down when DD is issued, comma, at that time an amount of rupees equivalent to $2,000 is collected from student. Full stop. Student's transaction is sell rupees and purchase dollar, comma, bank's transaction is sell dollar and purchase rupees. Full stop. From bank point of view, exchange position is sell $2,000. Importantly, when this DD is presented for payment, comma, at that time $2,000 will be debited to Nostro account. Full stop. Sixth transaction, E Limited has exported goods. For that, it is receiving bills receivable of $8,000. So E Limited initially exported goods, and then it is going to, that is say, it has received the bills receivable. Due date of the bill is after 3 months. This bill is discounted with State Bank of India. So we understand that from customer point of view, the transaction is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. We understand that say the $8,000 is equivalent to some amount of the rupees today, not the entire amount. However, its discounted value, its present value will be given say to like the customer. So from bank point of view, the transaction is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. In short, so the bill is discounted by the customer with the bank. After 3 months, so the bank is going to receive so this amount of $8,000. Not right now. So it will not have the impact say in the Nostro account. From the bank point of view, it will have the exchange position in that $8,000 that is bill discounted. After 3 months, when the customer of E Limited will make payment to State Bank of India, at that point of time, the Nostro account will be credited by $8,000. For 7th and 8th transaction, you try to complete the working on your own. 7th transaction, D Limited is cancelling its forward contract. So friends, over here for the D Limited, you can see that the question was providing the information earlier that it entered into the forward contract to hedge. So from delimited point of view, the transaction was sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. From the bank point of view, the transaction is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. That was the initial, that is the forward contract which was entered upon. Now this contract is cancelled. So delimited will enter into the transaction for sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. So the bank will enter into the reverse, that is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. So again it will have the impact only in the exchange position. The reason is that say it was not having any impact in the Nostro account so far. So it will be like this. Forward contract cancelled. In bracket I am writing D, an amount of $10,000. Simply we understand that say it will have the effect on the opposite side, and so far it was not having any impact in the exchange position, so we just have to ignore it. That is say it was not having any impact on the Nostro account, so it will have the effect only in the exchange position. Next, the student wants to cancel his draft. So again it is a similar transaction. DD cancelled. It was issued for $2,000. So now it is cancelled. So now the bank is going to have so the transaction to purchase $2,000, because initially we understand say when the DD was issued, from the student point of view the transaction was sell of rupees and purchase of dollar, because that $2,000 fees was supposed to be paid in the university. So from bank point of view the transaction was sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. We understand that say now when the DD is cancelled, it is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees from the student point of view once again. So from bank point of view it is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar, in a way that say an amount is required to be paid to student say when the DD is cancelled. So in the 7th transaction, D Limited is cancelling the forward contract. So in that case it is sell rupees, purchase dollar. And from bank point of view it is sell of dollar and purchase of rupees. Will it have impact in the Nostro account? Answer is no. For the 8th it is so the DD cancelled. So student point of view sell dollar, purchase rupees, and from bank point of view it is sell of rupees and purchase of dollar. Will it have impact in the Nostro account? The answer is no. Next information, bank wants to keep credit balance of $85,000. Okay. You can see that, say, use your calculator, 1 lakh plus 5,000 minus 25,000. So the closing balance is 80,000. Okay. So over here, this is an amount of 1 lakh 5,000. This is again 1 lakh 5,000. So there is closing balance of an amount of 80,000. The question is providing the information that, say, the closing balance is required 85,000. For that, say, what it is required to do? State Bank of India is required to purchase $5,000 spot. By purchasing $5,000 in spot, the credit balance will increase from 80,000 to 85,000, and so the exchange position will also increase by 5,000. So we understand that, say, in order to keep closing balance $85,000, comma, State Bank of India should purchase $5,000 in spot transaction so that balance increases from $80,000 to $85,000. Full stop. Now friends, in the exchange position, kindly use your calculator. 1 lakh plus 5,000 plus 10,000 plus 8,000 plus 2,000. So debit side it is 1 lakh 25,000. Credit side 25,000 plus 7,000 plus 2,000 plus 10,000. So credit side it is 44,000. So the sale is 44,000. So purchase it is 1 lakh 25,000 minus 44,000. That is overbought position of an amount of 81,000. Now, whatever the suggestion that, say, we have given, so due to this suggestion, the overbought position will increase from 81,000 to 86,000. The question says that bank wants to keep overbought position of $1 lakh. So in that case, we understand after about transaction, comma, overbought position will be $86,000. How it is 86,000? It is 81,000 plus 5,000. To increase overbought position to $1 lakh, State Bank of India should purchase $14,000, 1 lakh minus 86,000 in forward contract. See, understand friends, what happens at, say, you want to have the overbought position of 1 lakh. For that, say, you need to purchase dollar. If you purchase the dollar in spot, then in that case not only your overbought position will increase, even your Nostro account balance will also increase. That is the reason, so you should not enter into the transaction to buy dollar in spot. You should enter into the transaction of purchasing the dollar in forward, so that the balance increases, say from 86,000 to 1 lakh dollar in exchange position, but it will not have the impact in Nostro account. This is what we understand. Then on heading note, first point, Nostro account is an account which is maintained for the purpose of recording transactions between banks. Full stop. Second point, it is a simple bank account for the purpose of executing foreign currency transaction on behalf of customers. Third, exchange position is indicating transactions for purchase slash sale of foreign currency. Full stop. With this, bank can come to know about overbought or oversold foreign currency. Fourth, a transaction entered upon in spot will have an impact in Nostro and exchange position, both, while a transaction entered in forward will have an impact only on exchange position. Full stop. With paragraph write down. Similarly, bill discounted, comma, DD issued, all of them will be reflected only in exchange position, not in Nostro account. Full stop.